have like this perfect middle ground. It's like you're almost like untouchable. It's like everyone's like your friend. Everybody loves Ian Miller.
See, that's the thing is like, but at the same time, kind of no one does. Like,
Yeah, okay.
like I have my like core group of friends, and in the scene, like Glass Cannon for sure, and there's some definite others. But I can like, I like to think of it, and I'm a narcissist. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like, I like to think of it as. There's a rap line from a couple of rappers that are along the lines of you don't have to like me, but you got to respect me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I've always done it.
Okay.
It's like I don't like I'm me, and if you like me along the way, that's tight. But if you don't, like, also understandable. You know what I mean? But I try to give nobody a reason to dislike me. You know what I mean? Like I think that they should like respect me. You know, which is probably like pretty narcissistic, just like thinking I deserve respect from everyone. But so far, it's been pretty good.
Dude, everybody loves you, dude. Every time I like talk to somebody like that I don't know that knows you, they're like, "Wait, you know Ian Miller?" Like, fuck, I grew up with him. I went to school, dude. He's fucking awesome. And I'm just like, damn. Like Tony Casa was on last week, and he was talking about how much he loved you. He's like a great guy. One of the things that I thought I was talking to EJ about this earlier. And maybe you could shed some light on this because you're pretty intelligent and you have a way of putting things. But Jake Casa, fucking Tony Casa, Chris Sabo a little bit. You guys are all from that like area, that like hilltop area.
Yeah.
And you guys all seem to be very good storytellers.
Yeah.
Or like talkers.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'm just like, why is that? Why are you guys all from the same area? And why is that all like a trait that you guys have?
So I'm gonna steal this from like Michael Che, right?
Okay.
He gave an answer very similar to this about like black culture.
Okay.
And as fucked up as it is to say, is like as far as Columbus whites go, West Siders are like the black, like, you know what I mean? Like we're like, and that's it. And Che put it is there's like when you don't have a lot of money, what you've got is like laughs and food.
Yeah.
And that's what we just like I used to say when I lived in the bottoms, like the national pastime of the bottoms is just sitting on your front porch. Like that's all there is to do, and you just sit on your front porch and you tell stories. And that's how we got to where we are. And I do think that there is like something to it of just like everybody from that side of town is just like a little different.
Yeah.
Like from like Columbus proper, it's just like we're a little off, but I like it. I'm a fan. I'm very proud to be from the west side of Columbus.
Yeah, dude. West is the best. That's what Ian, like, I heard you say that one time, and I was like, you know what? I respect Ian enough to just, like, think that that's correct.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then it was so funny because I know, like, people who, like, love the east side, and they're just like, nah, they don't fucking know what the fuck they're talking about. West side's fucking shit. Like,
oh,
just
dude.
like...
Everyone hates it. Like, but it's just got like so much character. Like, and that's what I love is like so much of this city right now, like they took away the character and then they tried to like gentrify Franklinton, and at the same time the prostitutes were like, we're not leaving. You know what I mean? They're just like, we're gonna still do heroin on the corner. Like it is, dude, when I moved to my new spot, as we were moving, like, so I live on like the north side. I live in the old north now.
Okay.
And as we were moving, my roommate, we're driving away in a U-Haul, and he was just like, I'm so glad that I'm not just going to see like heartbreaking poverty on a day-to-day basis anymore. And it's like, yeah, that's what's there. And what sucks about like Franklinton now is that it's so rich on one side of 70 and then just so poor on the other. And it's like, damn, dog, can we have not done something about this? But
see, the problem with me, like, with how I grew up was that I was such a small town that, like, there wasn't, like, the poor people were, like, in pockets, but they weren't, like, a part of a town, you know what I mean? Because it was like, oh, there's a trailer park over here, and that's where poor people are. There's another trailer park over here. And so it was like, it's not like there's a whole large group of us. So it was like very different, like where it was like, whereas like you guys could walk around and see like poverty. It was like we were poverty, and we were walking around just seeing all these nice houses. Yeah. People, you know what I mean?
Where'd you grow up?
A small town called Napoleon. It's like near Toledo area.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was just like, it's so strange because it's like pretty wealthy over there, I would say, and like we just weren't. Like, my dad had a lot more kids than the average, so it's just like, so that's how it turned out. But it's like crazy to me that like you guys all have that trait, and it just like really boggles my mind that like you guys, and it's not like you guys are like kind of good, it's like you guys are like really good you so much that you tell stories on stage.
I love telling stories on stage. That's why I started the story. Well, one of the reasons I started the storytelling show. That and like my roommate RJ is like literally one of the best storytellers of all time. Like,
is he also from that area?
He's not. He's from Marion, like Ohio, like out in the sticks. But he gets it from his dad. Like one day I was like working with him and his dad was just shooting off stories, and it was like, holy shit, you are like like such a good storyteller.
And he's got such a like a deep voice. Oh, so I couldn't even imagine what like. You know?
Yeah, and then, like, I remember I was, like, because I'm a pretty good storyteller, and I've always just been able to, like, tip my hat and just be like, yeah, you're a better storyteller than I am, but, like, that's fine because, like, you know, we're best friends. And then, like, his dad, we were in a truck, and his dad went inside to get something, and he just, like, turned to me and was like, see where I get my storytelling skills from, man? And I was just like, dude, that's crazy. Like, he is so good at it. But, no, I'm, like, a sucker for a good story. Like, the This Is Not Happening, fucking fantastic. Like one of my favorite comedy things on the internet. It's just so good.
I was gonna say I enjoy some of them. Like there's some people who are good at storytelling.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it's like, and that's like one of the things that's like hard. It's like when you're booking shows like that, you know, how do you always book people that are gonna give you a good show? Or are you gonna give, you know what I mean? Do you give people a chance? Like,
So booking storytelling is the hardest because you just like, it's like, one, this isn't stand up. Like it's inherently different. Exactly. So really what I would do to book that show when I was doing it is I would just like, there was always a theme. And then just like when I would start working on themes in my head, I would just like put, you know, comedy show patios, fucking great stories going down all the time. I would just like bring up a conversation, and if somebody like told a banger of a story, I'd just be like, hey, you want to be on my show? Like we're gonna tell. Like you very quickly learn who is a good storyteller on the patio. When we first started doing that show, my way to like try to get more folks to the show was to book one not comedian for every show. Columbus performer, but not comedian. Yeah. First person I booked was actually Tony Casa. And like he fucked up the curve. Like it was just like, dude, he's such a good storyteller for being like not a comedian that like and like no offense to the other performers I had on, it was just like, oh yeah, like you can tell you don't do this. Like with Tony, you really couldn't tell. Like he just like knows how to tell a fucking story. So yeah, that show was really fun. Yeah, but booking it was tough because it's like also storytelling is one of those things that you just like get with life experience, and there's some like real milquetoast comics that just like have done comedy so long that that's really like all they know. They didn't go out and be wild for a minute, so you have to find the right like intersection.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's another reason that probably West Siders are good at telling stories, is because there's always something crazy that just happens on the west side of the Columbus. Like there's always something that just went down. We're just like, listen to this. So
oh my god, yeah. I was gonna say I used to work with Tony's brother Jake, and it would be every fucking day. It'd be like, dude, some like because he moved to the like on like a Broad, like Demarest, if you know. So like right there, like on Broad-ish, and so it's like crackheads all over the place. Oh yeah. There was like some kid, I guess, that was terrorizing the streets, and he's like trying to be an adult now, so he's like doing all this shit, like joining forums and community groups and stuff like that, and these people are all posting all their ring videos of this kid riding around on a bike with a fucking gun, just like flailing around.
Dude, that's wild. But yeah, we like the thing that was always crazy when I lived on the west side was just like, hey, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why is there a baby here? like why is there just a kid on a tricycle right now, like wearing just a diaper? Like I am like, you know what I mean? It's that like last cigarette before you go to sleep when you've been having like a wild night, and it's like, why is there a baby that's just like more awake than me? Like that's crazy. Dude,
I can't even imagine.
Oh yeah, and like we all knew the baby. Like we didn't know the baby, but he was like 3 years old. He was like light skinned and just like always fucking causing a ruckus. He was just like always around. Anytime shit would go down, there would just be this baby wearing just a diaper there.
Did he ever grow up?
I mean, I want to know what he's doing right now.
What if he never grew up and he's just a kid on a bike at 3 a.m. just rolling around?
He's like, I just look like this. I'm actually neighborhood watch. I'm 37 years old and strapped up right now.
Dude, what if that was he was actually just a fucking
he's Hezbollah. Just we think he's a baby. Dude, a light skinned Hezbollah would be tight.
Dude, that would be. Dude, those videos of him are just insane. They have the fucking Saudi Arabian run, don't they? What's his name? I don't fucking know. He's like a prince or something. I don't know. At least he says he is.
Yeah. And they want to fight.
Yeah. But the thing is that like I saw this forever ago, and they were like wanting to fight, and then I thought it like happened, but it didn't.
It never happened. Yeah.
It's like, and they're still like hyping it up.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Is it like a fight that's never gonna happen?
Never ever. Like I don't think that like they can. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that like.
I think I think I know what you're talking about. I think the Saudi Arabian one, I think he actually has an advantage. Or I think.
Really?
Or maybe. Or it's either one or the other. I think it's like one of them has like a bone problem.
Yeah, I think that, that where it's like if you start throwing punches, like your shoulder's just going to come out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. It might be I don't know.
I don't know. Here's the thing. None of them are normal.
Oh, well, also, I think Hezbollah is like way older.
Yeah.
I think the other one's like 19.
Yeah. Hezbollah's an old man.
So I think it's Hezbollah that has the problems. So
hey man, he's down to clown though. Yeah. He wants to fight.
Where's he from?
Hezbollah?
Yeah. Is it the same place that what's his face is from? The other Russian dude?
Dagestan.
Is that where he's from?
Maybe, because I know he's tight with all those dudes, like all the Dagestani guys, like Khabib.
Yeah. That's who I was thinking.
Yeah, he was like in fucking Khabib's corner for one of his fights. So I think it's like that.
Okay.
One of either a place that is Russia or was the USSR is for sure where Hezbollah's from.
Okay. And you are kind of like a boxer wrestler dude, aren't you?
Yeah, I did MMA for like 7 years.
Okay. So I wasn't sure if it was MMA.
Yeah. So I did that for 7 years. I wrestled in high school.
Did you like do it professionally?
Whoa, technically no. It was 10 amateur fights. But yeah, so
do you get paid for those?
No.
Okay,
and that's why I stopped. That and comedy. Like
oh my God.
The good thing about Ohio is that like we actually, and if you talk to like other MMA, like people in the MMA community, it's really like Washington State and Ohio, the state of Ohio, have like the best amateur fighters like really around. California also, but they've got weird amateur rules that are like, so the Ohio State Athletic Commission's real dicks about like letting people fight. Like they want it to be very well like taken seriously. So, but like before you fight pro, normally you have to like have at least 3 amateur fights. You have to have a winning amateur record, and that's generally it. So if you can go to like 3-0 or 2-1, you can go pro right away. If not, you have to like win enough amateur fights to where you get a winning record and then move on.
Is that what was going on with you?
No, mine was just like I never was like I was always one like thing away, you know what I mean? And it was always like I used to make the joke that like I've never been healthy and motivated at the same time. I'm either one or the other. Like I dislocated both my shoulders, got into a motorcycle accident, like it's just had a bunch of like little nagging injuries to where I never felt like it was the time to make the pro jump. Also, like looking back at it, if I were to talk to myself, I like 22-year-old Ian, and I would be like, hey, are you 100% dedicated to this? Like, he would have said yes, but like, not really. Like, I wanted to do other shit. And like, I think at the end of the day, I wanted to do comedy.
Yeah.
Like, even then, even while I was training like 5 days a week, 6 days a week, I wanted to do comedy at the end of the day. And yeah, it was always kind of just a vehicle. Like, the first person I ever trained MMA with, his name is Justin Edwards. I was 17 years old, and he was training for an amateur fight as well, the same type of fighting I was doing. And then, like, by the time I was 22, so like 4 years later, you know, Justin's fighting in the UFC. So it's like, oh, I saw this dude that was like literally exactly where I am, and now he's fighting on the biggest stage. He like was on the main card of like a UFC on FX back when they used to have him on FX, won like $50,000 for the performance of the night, and it was just like, oh, like very clearly in front of me, here are the steps to follow, and I can get that.
So how do you go pro though after like 3 amateur fights? Do you have to like find like an agent or something?
So yeah, like I had a guy, like, so there's like, at the end of the day, there's like matchmakers and like promoters, just like a comedy show. So you would, you know, reach out to bookers and just be like, hey, I'm here. And then the part of having a problem when you're pro is like the commission also has the right to refuse any fight. So anytime, and this has happened to me before, even just because like I had so many amateur fights, because I had 10 amateur fights, and most people, especially then, like 2010, everyone wanted to do MMA, but it turns out fighting's really hard. So there were a lot of people that would have like 1 or 2 fights and just be like, I'm done. So it was hard finding amateurs with a lot of fights, but the commission could reject it at any time. And like there were a lot of people where it's like, I want this like 2-0 guy to fight this 1-4 guy, and the commission would just be like, no, that 1-4 guy's gonna get murdered, like, and we're not gonna do it. So you would have to find a promoter that would book you in a pro fight, and then they would have to find somebody that was close enough to you in like record and age, and then send that fight to the athletic commission and then have it get approved. So it's like a pain in the ass, and that's why most promoters are always stressed, and most fighters have agents.
So let me ask you this: so are you saying that like if you wanted to set up a fight, that like all you'd have to do is like get 2 people to agree to it, and then like send this like contract to this athletic commission,
and then the athletic commission would have to approve it?
Okay, yeah, but so like but if they approved it, then you would have a fight.
I would, yeah. I would also have to like buy insurance through the athletic commission. Okay. I would also have to like pay for athletic commission inspectors, so they would have to come to the ring. I would have to pay for medical staff to be there. Yeah. Like it's a huge pain.
So
in the
how
ass.
do you? So like what? That's interesting. So then, so why did you have 10 amateur fights then? Why did you just keep fighting amateur? If you wanted to keep fighting, and you had like a record to go pro.
Yeah. So I lost my first 2, and then there's like I won my next 6. So I started off 0-2, won 6 in a row, and then lost my last 2 before I hung them up. After when I was 2-2, I was 22 years old, 21 years old, and just found weed instead. And then like it's funny because you can see, so the athletic commission tracks everything, like everything is tracked, and it's really funny. I was looking at it just like not too long ago, and you can see like I have 4 fights all within like 3 months of each other. Like I was just fighting constantly, and I was at 265, and then I took like a 4-year break and came back at like 293. And it's just like, hey, look, Ian lost his shit there in the middle. Like he was just wilding. So like, yeah, I literally just like, it's tough to be
God damn it, princess.
It's tough to be a 22-year-old that wants to be a professional athlete when you're also like, I was trying to go to college because that's the only way I could have health insurance is if I was in school at that point, and then also working full time so that I could have money, and then training full time, and then trying to be a 22-year-old that's like getting wild. Impossible. It's very hard. So yeah, that's the shoulda just quit the fighting or like been a normal person.
So why did you want to start fighting in the first place?
That's a great question. I've just always loved it. Like it was,
because I ask my brother this shit all the time. Because
he always goes,
he goes off and on like wanting to be. And now that I know like why, like if it's like 3 fights and as long as you have a winning record, I see why he's always like I'm gonna be this fighter. And it's like, okay, that makes sense because he thinks he hasn't done a fight as far as I know.
Yeah.
But like he probably thinks that he's gonna go up and just clean house.
Does he train?
He says he does now, but I don't know.
That's
like,
wild.
That's what happens. It's like he says he does, but I don't see anything. I don't know.
Yeah. He's not stunting on the gram or anything like that.
Exactly. So it's like it's hard to know.
Yeah. Where does he live?
He lives in like the Toledo area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There's a couple good gyms up there, but I started fighting when I was 18.
Okay.
Like my which you have to be in the state of Ohio. You have to be 18 years old to have a MMA license. So you had to be dual licensed. You had to have a license for.
So you have to get a license to even fight.
Yeah. So
shit.
yeah, you have to get.
You are actually you're like legally obligated to fucking register your
No,
weapon.
that is the biggest lie, dude. It is so funny when people say that. It's just like you're full of shit. No, so yeah, I had to be registered with the Ohio State Athletic Commission, have a card, and then there's a like national mixed martial arts registry that I'm also in.
How long does that last? Do you have to like keep going? Like
The national is, I want to say it's either 5 or 10 years, and then the state is 1 year.
So you have to like apply
every year, yeah, and it's like really easy to get it. Well, and then if you like want to corner somebody, you also have to have a corner's license.
If you want to what?
Corner somebody, like the guy that talks in between rounds of the fighter or the coach in the corner, that's a license too. You have to pay for that.
Like the fucking dude that announces the fight and shit?
No. Like the coaches in the corner that are like what Hezbollah when he was just like sitting there yelling stuff to Khabib. Khabib's coaches, like they had to pay for a corner's license as well. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a kind of a racket, like to be honest. But
shoot.
Yeah. So I had.
What's the purpose of getting that license?
Just so that you can like
yell at people.
Yeah, coach the people you train. Like I love cornering more than I like fighting. Like at the end of the day, like, yeah.
Now, do you have to have all 3 of those if you want to do the corner?
No, you can just have a corner's license. Like you can have a corner's license and have never fought, and and have no other registry and just like
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, and it's also just like a way that you don't have to like pay the ticket, you know what I mean?
I was about to say that.
Yeah. Just like, hey, I'm a corner.
How much does that cost a year?
It's like $20 a year.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's not a little, but it's not a ton. They just like up the price, and it's like good. When I first started to get a fighter's license, all you had to do was like put down your name, address, and be like, I want to be a fighter. Check yes, pay your $30, take a picture, you got a card. Now to get them, you have to do it's called like the triple combative check, and it's a blood test where you it's a blood test for HIV, hepatitis A, and hepatitis B. And you have to get that and go negative before you it's hep C, not B, but you have to get that and test negative before you get your license.
Whoa.
Yeah, first time they implemented that rule, like first go round, because it like wasn't there at the beginning.
Tell me.
My fight got canceled because the dude tested positive for hep C. And it was just like, that was a close fucking call.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. It was, and then they ended up saying it was like a false positive later. Like the fight was canceled and I never fought the guy. But they ended up saying it was like a false positive later and tried to get me to fight him again. And I was just like, I'm good.
Dude,
like,
oh my God.
I'm good. Yeah.
Wow. So that's when you started fighting. At what point did you find comedy and want to start doing that?
So, I started comedy 7 years ago. So that would have been like when I was 24. I literally was one of those like always wanted to do comedy kind of people. Like even when I was fighting, like my coach was just like, listen, you're not a world-class talent. Like that's obvious, you know what I mean? Like, but you're good enough and like you could do something with it because of your personality. He was like, we get you on The Ultimate Fighter and you'll fucking tear that show up. Everybody will love you, become a household name. So even like when I was fighting, people were just like, you're weirder than you are good at fighting. Like you're funnier than you are good at fighting. And then like so many comics now, I would listen to the Joe Rogan podcast for his fighter interviews. I would never listen to it for his stand-up stuff. And then I slowly just started getting more and more into it. And I was always a big Mike Birbiglia fan. And then he has Mike Birbiglia on the podcast and says something to the effect of like, the world is a darker place because creative people let thoughts die in their head. And I was just like, damn. And that's like entirely what I've been doing. Yeah.
That's
it was
deep.
like, it was like very prophetic. And then I went and watched Sleepwalk with Me, which is Mike Birbiglia's movie. And like the thought in my head that was preventing me from trying stand-up was always like, what if I'm bad? And I watched Sleepwalk with Me, Mike Birbiglia's movie, because I also sleepwalk, which is like wild. But at the very beginning of that movie, he's like, the thing about stand-up is you're going to be bad for 5 years no matter what. And I was just like, dude, if Mike Birbiglia is giving me like a 5-year allowance to be bad, like, fuck it. Like, I'll go be bad. Like, I was wondering if I was going to be bad. Mike Birbiglia told me I was going to be bad, and it's okay. Yeah. So, like, let's go give it a run.
That is, like, super crazy, because I feel like that is, like, the thing, like, with anything. It's, like, especially, like, recently I just started bringing, like the ukulele on stage. And doing some comedy music. Yep, that's fine.
No. It's not at you. I mean, kind of. That's silly.
Yeah.
But the last time I was at Shrunken, I was like, just very like, I was stalling. I could have been thinking of a new joke, and I looked down. At the stool, there it is, and there's just like a pick on it, and I was just like, who fucking is playing guitar here? All right. There's two comics in Columbus that used to be in Columbus, neither of them are in Columbus anymore, that used to play guitar, and one of them is so bad, and the other one's like legit top two for me Columbus comedians ever, like all time. Really? Top two. What's his name? Brent Woldridge. Yeah. Like his "You Are Ugly, Therefore Difficult to Love" song that he plays with the guitar.
I have not heard it.
Dude, it literally will murder any room you've ever stepped foot in. And like, I don't want to tell his joke, but the premise of it is just like, the song "Loving You Is Easy Because You're Beautiful." And he was like, that implies inherently that, like, if you're ugly, you are difficult to love. And he was like, since that's true, I wrote a song about it. And it's just a song about you are ugly, therefore difficult to love. And it is like, I literally think it's one of those things where, like, if Brent were to throw that shit on TikTok, he would be famous tomorrow. Like, damn. He's so fucking funny. One of my favorite comedians of all time, like, regardless of anything. I was going to say,
when I first started and I was talking to him, I like asked him like for some advice, and he was like, don't let anybody tell you what to say. And I was like, shit. And like that was like probably like my fourth time out, and I was like, this is coming from like a black comic, telling me like, don't let anybody tell you what to say. And I'm like, fuck. And then he unfriended me on Facebook. So
I don't think he has Facebook anymore.
Oh, okay, maybe. Okay.
Yeah. But talk, and like, I love Brent as a comedian.
He's so smart.
And he and I have kicked it. Genius. Like, literal genius.
Yeah, like a mathematician.
Yeah. Talk about you ain't got to like me, but you got to respect me. Yeah. Like, he, like, lives that through and through. Just, like, does not give a single fuck about what you think about him. I honestly don't even think he cares if you respect him. Yeah. But he's so smart and so talented and so funny that you can't not. Exactly. Like, he's just too good.
I was going to say, I had a friend that was around, and he would always like get books from him. Like, he would like pass him books to read and stuff like that, or like give him like like whatever.
Yeah.
So I was just like, dude, this is crazy. This, because he was like a real mentor, like Columbus mentor.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm so sad. Who do you think fills that role now, if there's anyone?
No one. I think that right now the biggest problem that Columbus, and I don't even know if I want to call it a problem, but when I was coming up, there was a great system of leadership in the Columbus comedy scene. People that would mentor you, people that would, senior comedians that would like, you know, give a fuck about the state of the scene. And I personally hate using the word scene because I don't like it. It brings something to us and makes us all this one thing, which we're like not. Like, and I understand that there are some people that want to like cultivate this Columbus scene and do that kind of stuff, and I've never like really tried to. I've always thought that it was like yes, do we need to put ourselves together, and like everybody needs to like. The Columbus comedy scene is one of the most segregated comedy scenes of all time. At least not, I'm not going to say of all time, that I've ever interacted with. And, like, could we all be better if we all, like, got together and worked harmoniously as one? Like, yes. Could that also make us all want to fucking kill each other? Like, probably that. Like, that's my guess. So I've always been just like, you know, it's a zero-sum game. Like, everybody try to go out and get yours, and, like, may the best land on top. And that's always how I've looked at it. But when I came in, there was like a good group of older comics that was just like, we're gonna do things the right way, we're gonna make things like good for everyone, give everybody the ability to learn, mentor, stuff like that. And I've had so many comedy mentors that like it's like tough for me to count, like, and there just aren't any right now. Like there aren't. Like,
they're all hiding.
It's
like they're all sleeping.
I think they all quit. I
hope not.
I think that they all just like, because like a lot of the folks that I started with and I just like don't see around anymore, I'm like, it like low-key breaks my heart. But also it's just like, I get it. Like this is, I tell people, like, I'm the least encouraging person as far as it goes to stand up. Like, one of my best friends in the entire world recently asked me, they were like, should I quit stand up? And I was just like, fucking probably. Wow. Yeah, I don't think stand up is like something you should do. Like if you don't have to. Like, I have to do stand up. Like, I do. Like, I'll die if I don't. Like, I will. Wow. Yeah, I'll jump off of a building. Like, I need it for my soul. And like, there are some people that don't, and they just like want to do it like as a hobby, and that's chill. Like, I'm never going to tell anybody what to do with their time. Like, you do whatever you want to do. But in my opinion, stand-up is the worst hobby you could have. It's terrible for your mental health. It's terrible for your physical health. It's terrible for your social health. And like, it's like, what other things could it be bad for? You know what I mean? like it's so hard on you. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, dude, it's like, why are you doing this if you don't have to?
Tony Casa last week said that comedy is the hardest thing that he's ever done next to concrete work. That's what he said. I was like, that's crazy. And he's like, and that's why I quit. He was like, it's hard. And I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, it's like, you know, it's not as hard as like fighting somebody, but it is in its way, because you know what I mean? Like, you know, I've had plenty of times where I've said a joke and, you know, nobody thought it was funny. And you know what I mean? And it's like, you get a lot of hate, and then you have some people who are kind of on both sides, and they'll tell you what everyone's saying, and then they'll also say some shit behind your back. And it's like, it does bug me a little bit that we don't have like a cohesive like group, you know what I mean? That could just be like, hey man, like, this would be the way that works better, you know, or something like that. Instead of it being like, oh my God, you're such a horrible person. It's like, dude, I'm trying to do the same thing that you guys are. And it's like, I'm not going to sit up there and educate people on white culture, because that's not what I want to do. That's, you know what I mean? I want to try to actually, you know, do jokes. And it's hard. It's hard to like write in like, you know, edgy material or whatever and not like sound like an asshole sometimes. So it's like Louis C.K., Daniel Tosh, all those people. It's like, they get lots of hate for a lot of their shit. Dave Chappelle, like everybody.
No, it's definitely not easy. And also just like, as far as like what's harder, fighting or comedy, like fighting's got like the physical aspect to it. But at the end of the day, where it's like, if I'm going to go train, right, and I'm going to do it, you know, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, but I'm just going to do like once or twice 1 or 2 sessions a day. You've got like a time, like generally after adults are off work. So it's like 7 to 9 every day. You go to the gym, you've got 2 hours of training. You're going to learn something and you're going to be able to get a workout in. With comedy, that 2 hours is going to be up to 4. You know what I mean? If you're showing up at 8 o'clock for an open mic that starts at 9 and you're 30th or you're 27th, that's a 6-hour day for you to get at the end of the day, maybe 5 minutes of work in. And chances are there's
maybe not work.
Maybe not valuable work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, you've got to be willing to do that, 3, 4, 5, 6 nights a week. Yeah. And just like to get better, because that's the only way that you can do it. Yeah. Whereas like there's so many other ventures and ways to get better from like a fighting standpoint that's just like less time consuming, less like it's being a comedian's hard like, and doing it with any sort of like effort is way harder.
So with your group, you have a group, Glass Cannon Comedy, right?
Yeah.
Sweet. And you guys like do like shows and stuff like that. Are you the guy that like normally like books those shows like with venues and stuff?
Yeah. So I used to run 2 different monthlies, and then RJ would run a quarterly back pre-COVID. Since then, we've really just focused on doing out of town shit, just because like I want to be a comic, I don't want to be a producer at the end of the day. And then like Jay Cokes would also like get us some out of town work, like he got the majority of that. But yeah, so it was a group effort, but I would say of the shows I produced 90% of them, just because I had 2 shows every month I was producing. We had a Shrunken monthly and then a storytelling monthly as well.
And where was that at?
Cafe Kerouac.
Okay, sweet. My question, I guess, is like kind of transitioning into this is like, so as a comic who has booked shows for yourself and stuff like that, what would you say goes into it for like booking a show at like a venue?
That's a good question.
Like, how do you go about it?
So first of all, I booked shows overall for like 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And I start with roast battles, which are the hardest form of show to book.
Okay.
Because in those you have to so let me put it versus booking a showcase. Booking a showcase, you're looking at 6 to 10 comedians, each doing 6 to 10 minutes, right? So that means you have to find 6 to 10 funny people. And then of those people, you're going to want to weigh how funny they are to how many people they bring. So old trick, been as long as the for promoters has been, you get a few people that are really good that are going to kill it. Then you get some people that are not so good that have a lot of what we call friend coupons, like new comics that they're like, hey, I'm on a book show now, like come out and see me. They still got the friend coupons.
Okay.
I'm out of friend coupons.
Dude,
I've been doing comedy for 7 years.
Okay. You know what? This makes a lot of sense now. Because I sometimes wonder, I always am like, okay, why do people, book the way they do and stuff like that? And now that makes sense.
Yeah. New comics have tons of friend coupons. Old comics don't have a ton of friend coupons, but got tons of jokes. So you want to, and then that's how you start the show. You start the show with the bad guys, and then you end the show with the good guys. So it's just like everybody gets to leave happy. The crowd got drawn from the new kids or the ones with big bringers, and then the heavy hitters drove it home.
Shoot.
Yeah, so that's booking a showcase. Very easy. And then, you light them when their time's up. You make a poster, put all their faces on it, and boom, you're done. Roast battle, you're now booking 20 people. Because if you want 10 battles, that's 20 people. So you're booking 20 people, so you have to find 20 funny people. And then you have to find, of those 20 people, they all have to be cool. You have to be able to pair them up with people that are okay with roasting each other. Okay. And that's
hard.
So hard. And everybody just wants to be a judge. And it's of course you want to be a judge. Just you sit on the stage and make fun of people. No. And then, so yeah, it's will you roast this person? It's no, I won't. It's well, fuck, will you roast this person? And it's yes, I will. Then you go to them. It's okay, will you roast this person?
Are you going to bring them back?
No. I don't know.
If you bring them back, my suggestion is do less comics. So instead of doing 10, wait, so you said you did 10 comics. Oh, so it'd be 5 groups.
Yeah, so no, I did 10 battles.
Okay, 10 battles.
Which is 20 comics.
Okay.
So
if you did 5, what would the time be?
So the roast battles are just 5 jokes back and forth. Okay. So if we're talking,
we just made them 10.
It's boring. Like the format works. Like don't get me wrong. Like I've done it. The last one I did. So the last Independence Day festival, which was a festival that was in Franklinton for a while. They don't do it anymore. The last Independence Day festival, they asked me to do the roast battle there. Wow. Yeah, it was really nice. And then I remember it's outside. It's not like we thought we were going to have lights. We ended up not having lights. So it's really hard to roast somebody when you can't really see them or the crowd can't really see them. I don't like doing outdoor comedy, but like, I'm not going to turn down being able to produce a show at a festival. It's not in me. But I was standing there. We only did 7 that night. I was standing there, and it was 5 minutes before the show started, and I had 7 comedians, 1 from each battle. No
drop.
No, just like available. Couldn't find the other ones. So it's like none of you even like I can't get the show started because I don't have like a single battle pair here. I have 7 people here and nobody to like battle them. And then it was like, all right, well, we'll just fucking wait as they show up. And it was just like too much herding cats. But I would like to bring one more back. I want to do one more before I leave. I might be moving out of the city.
Okay.
So
do you know where you're going?
I would like to go to Cincinnati. That's the plan right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to do one more kind of everything before I leave. Like we, as Glass Cannon, through some insane shit. Like we did cool stuff that like nobody I know has done like since or before. So like I want to run all of those shows back one time. Probably won't just because we don't have enough time. But if we don't, I'm going to do one show with all of them. Okay. So like a show where there's a roast battle, a show where somebody tells stories, a show where we give somebody a stick and poke tattoo, a show or a set where we give somebody a stick and poke tattoo during the set. Were you around for Comedy 40 Hands?
No.
That was so fun. So what we would do, so we used to have these shows called Trash Funk, and they were RJ's brainchild. So Bossy was just like, you can do a show, but it has to be 3 hours long. And it's just like 3 hours is way too long for a comedy show. So what we would do is the first hour would be burlesque, the second hour would be comedy, then the third hour would be a rap concert. And the entire time was just like a big-ass party. And then the second bit, the comedy portion would always be comedy with little something insane added to it. So one time, again, RJ's brainchild was Comedy 40 Hands. And before the burlesque portion, what we did was we got all the comics that were going to be performing that night and taped 2 40s to their hands. And they had, through the burlesque portion, which should have been about an hour, to drink the 40s. And then however much, like, whoever drank the most amount of the 40s was like the headliner, and whoever drank the least was like the first person to go. So you wanted to drink the 40s as much as you could so that you could be like the headliner for this comedy show. Cecil, we did it twice. Cecil was the first champion. Timor was the second champion. They both like just finished both of their 40s. But yeah, it was crazy. So we would have just like blackout drunk comics doing sets and then a rap concert to close it out. And then somebody threw up in a cardboard box in just like a hallway in Bossy Grove. We're not allowed to do them there anymore.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was sweet. So we're going to try to bring that back. I want to do just like a 3, like if we do this show where it's like one of everything that we did, I'm just going to be like, there's 3 comics, only one of you are getting a spot, tape the fuck up. Like we're just only the champion. Whoever finishes these 40s first is going to get the Comedy 40 Hand spot, and the other 2 just get 2 free 40s. That's it.
Damn.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to a venue, like let's say when you first started, like so Glass Cannon first starts, you have your idea for a show. How do you talk to a venue into allowing you to do a show?
At that point, first one was Shrunken.
Okay.
And I wanted to do the roast battle, and they had hosted a roast battle previously. Also, aside from like the experimental shit that we do, like the stick and poke tattoo, comedy 40 hands, the hot one, well, even the hot one show, a lot of my ideas are just straight up stolen. So like that's like one thing. Like roast battles I didn't invent.
Yeah,
I wasn't even doing the first roast battles of Shrunken. Like storytelling show, literally saw it on YouTube and was like, I want to do that. Hot one show, saw it on YouTube and was like, I bet I could do that. So that's like a big part of that. RJ comes up with like all the creative shit. I just steal.
That's the Asian in you.
Yeah, really. Just like white collar.
So that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah. Just like, oh, dude, my friends are so much more talented than you. Bring it. Like, it's yeah, just very easy. So there was a Columbus comic that was running the roast battles at Shrunken who got canceled and like moved out of the city.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say their name?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Just absolute shitbag of a human.
Damn.
So
Just
yeah,
tell me afterwards.
they're running a roast battle at Shrunken, and at this time, like, I had been doing roast battles before. I was like 5-0 at roast battles in Columbus and Cleveland at the time, against Columbus comics. A Cleveland comic did beat me once. So I had like a little bit of roast battle clout, and the shows always did really well. Like, because everybody wants to see their friends make fun of somebody. Like, you're getting 20 comics, so if they each bring 2 people, you're at 40.
Yeah.
And all of the comics want to come because like they
want to see who says what about who.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone's there for the tea. So all of those shows did obscenely well. They're just so stressful. But I was like, let me, like, the roast battle thing, like, let me do it. Like, you know, this person's not doing the show anymore. Just let me do it. Let me carry it on. And they were like, fucking do it. Like, go for it. We'll see how it works. And I was like, tight. And then the first one I ever did was actually not part of Glass Cannon. It was just me, and it was a tournament. It was a roast battle tournament where I just got like 8 people and was just like, put them in a bracket and we'll see who wins at the end. And Nick Glasser ended up taking it. I've never seen Nick Glasser lose a roast battle. He smoked me. He was like, he's the only Columbus comic to ever dust me. Yeah. And yeah, it was insane. And then I started up the Columbus Roasting Championship where like he was the champion, and then people would work their way up roast battling other people to like go after
That's
him.
dope.
Yeah, he like retired the champion, became all-time judge. And I still have like the belt that I bought from fucking Walmart that modified to fit an adult. Like it's still chilling in my house. Currently Matt Loxley, a Chicago comedian, is the current CRC reigning champ.
Okay.
But yeah, fucking.
Dude, someone who was really good at roasting that I didn't know, Shayna.
Oh yeah,
dude. When she did the roast of Lucas, I was like blown away.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is a side of Shayna that I had never seen before. Because it was like so good, so good. She was on fire, dude. But that's interesting. Okay, so you got a good show with like Shrunken, and then like through that you kind of were just like, hey, I was able to like get this many people at this other place.
I really didn't even do that. I would just walk up. So I threw the first show there, and then I threw a show at Ruby Tuesdays, and I was just like like the one on the not a Ruby Tuesdays, the Ruby Tuesdays. It's like there's like a lawsuit. It's like it's a great campus dive bar. It's on 4th. It slaps. And we threw a show there, and I was just like, hey, like I'll pay the stage fee. Like I guarantee you this is gonna be a banger. Most bars won't give a shit as long as they don't have anything that night. And if you're charging a cover and you're just like, hey, we're going to charge a cover, let us use your stage. They normally will have a stage fee. You pay that. If it's empty, they're chill. And they're like, yeah, you made this. And then if like that show was the first ever 420 show that we did. And like to this day, it's one of the moments that makes my like roommate jealous of me, because I partnered up that night with the Buckeye Stand-Up Comedy Club.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, it was a roast battle on 420. I had like the president and the vice president of the Buckeye Stand-Up Comedy Club roasting each other. I had like a lot of the members of that roasting each other. So like a bunch of college kids came out, and then like the regular comedians came out, and then it was
shit.
like,
so it was packed.
oh yeah, and it was like 4:20. So like the show ended, it was an absolute banger, and we go out and we're literally like across the like 4th, just like almost blocking off all of 4th, just like with probably no less than like 20 implements of weed like going around, and I'm standing on top of like the staircase just like looking over. My roommate turns to me and was just like,
this is what you've done.
yeah, he was just like, you did it, dog, like way to fucking go.
Damn.
And it was just like, yeah, that one was sweet, and they like loved it. Like if you do the bar good, like they'll just be like, hey, when's the next one? You know what I mean? So like, and then I did Bossy. We did the show there, which you know, that is kind of an easy in because my ex-girlfriend's sister is dating the owner. So
okay.
I was just like, yo, let me snag something there. And then he let us do that, and that's where we did our quarterly. And then Cafe Kerouac, which was just like, comedians are doing better than music. And it's like, yeah, because you're a coffee shop, you dumbass. Like, this is, not the venue for music. So he was like, let's do a bunch of comedy shows. And I was like, my storytelling show would fit perfectly in here. Like, perfectly. Yeah. And then we did the storytelling show there for about 6 months. And then COVID happened, and we moved that to the internet. And that was like one of my favorite renditions of that show.
That's
like,
the online one?
Yeah, I just had so much fun. And like, I was able to get connected with, like, work with comedians I couldn't work for. Because I'm not going to ask a Chicago comic to come into town to tell a 10-minute story for 17 people in a coffee shop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do that. But I'll just be like, you doing anything on Saturday? Like, you want to hop into the Zoom chat and tell stories with me and my friends? And they're just like, yeah, I do. Like, that's fun. So I was able to work with, you know, Chicago comics, indie comics, PA comics every week. Like, every other week is how we did that show. And it was just, like, really good opportunity for me from, like, a networking standpoint to just, like...
Did you get good views for it?
Views. It was on Twitch, which was probably... And then, like...
What did you think about Twitch? Because I thought about doing that for, like, if I ever, like, did, like, a live stream, like, doing it on Twitch. I know people do Facebook and stuff like that. Like, what's your opinion?
So I'm a Twitch affiliate.
Okay.
So like that was one thing that the show helped me get, was like a Twitch affiliate. So I could theoretically monetize from Twitch, which is nice. The problem that I had, and I was stupid, right, is that like, and it's not, I'm not going to say that we were stupid, but at the end of the day, we made a conscious decision for the show that it was just like, this is going to be live. We're going to say what we want to say. We're going to talk what we want to talk. And then when it's done, it's history. Nobody ever had it. Very much like a comedy show. You know what I mean? What I say in the moment is going to be in the moment, and it's not going to be forever. And it was like a storytelling show. So like, it was a storytelling show, and then at the end, I would just ask people questions, and then we would all just kind of talk about whatever the question was based on the theme. But there was a lot of just like burying people, dropping names, and just like telling actual stories that were like incriminating. So we made like the conscious decision to like, when it was off of Twitch, it's off of Twitch. Like when we're done streaming, we're done with it. That's all she wrote. If you tuned in, thanks. If you didn't, you missed it. Looking back, yes, that was like 1,000% the decision in the moment that I wanted to make, and I kind of stand by it. But on the other hand, like if I would have downloaded all of those, cut those up,
and just posted some of the stories that were safe or whatever. Yeah,
or just like little tags and almost release them post-fact as a podcast on YouTube, on TikTok, stuff like that. Because I have a video of all of it, and there's some like absolute stories on there that are like, there's one rendition that I saved because I had like 3 of my favorite comics on it, and I was just like, I'm gonna download this to my computer, like off of Zoom. I'm not gonna like save it on the internet, but like I want this. Like I want a copy of this. So yeah, but if I could go back and do it, I would have tried to make that show a show rather than making it a one-time live performance. But I love Twitch. Big fan of Twitch. It's got
I love Twitch.
Good ways to monetize. The streaming's really easy. Like it's so simple to do stuff.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, I'm a big Twitch guy.
Yeah. Did you ever do video games on Twitch?
Yeah. I streamed Among Us like everyone did during the Among Us times, and that's like really what got me through COVID from like a social standpoint. Was just like Fridays I would either stream Among Us or I would do that storytelling show, and it was just like, this is enough comicness for me. Like, this is close enough to being on a patio that like I can make it through this COVID time. And I did a little bit of Overwatch, a little bit of Hearthstone. The problem with me doing video games on Twitch was it made video gaming feel like a job, and playing video games is like what I do when I want to decompress. And to just like be on while playing video games was just like too stressful. It was taking the fun out of it, so I quit.
Dude, I kind of felt that way, but like I streamed for a little while, and I felt that way when I got my Wii. I got Mario Maker, and that was when I would get all of my views because everybody would join, and then they want you to play their level, and then they just bounce. And it just like you would join, you would get in their level, and then they just bounce, and you're like, God damn it! And so like that was like I was like conflicted. I was like, man, do I want the views, or do I want to like play stuff that I like?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is fucking shit.
Oh yeah, my friend recently got kind of big on Twitch, and he was just like, turn view counter off, make your like shit like just do you, don't go after the views, make sure that you're doing the other side of it, the TikTok, the Instagram reels, the YouTube side, and your stream will grow, and then you'll just be able to just do whatever you want to do. And I was like, I should have done that. I should have turned off the view counter and just played my games. And
Got it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's weird because when you've played video games like I have for like 20 years, it's like, you know how they say,
How old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay.
You know how they say that like guys don't make sounds during sex because they're used to jerking off silently, so they like they always like learn to like suppress all noise making during like, yeah, that's just like a thing that is said.
I never thought about.
Oh yeah, because
this.
like yeah. Also, fellas out there, make noise when you're having sex. Girls love it. It's wild.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's like a big female complaint that guys don't make noise during sex.
Wow.
And if you were with a girl that was making no noise while you were having sex, you'd be like, this sucks.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll be honest, like a lot of times I have to be like, shh. Yeah. Too much noise.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's the same thing for me in video games. Like, I played a lot of video games silently. You know what I mean? You learn to play video games silently. The outbursts are normally just like rage filled, and the rest of it you're just like thinking, playing games, you know, probably quietly, trying to not piss anybody off in your house. So when you're streaming, it's just that like same thing. Like, I'm just like, I would notice myself just like silently like muttering to myself, and it's like, hey, dickhole, think these thoughts out loud. People are watching. So.
Yeah. I had the advantage of my mom being schizophrenic, so I talk to myself like out loud a lot.
Nice.
Right? So that was like very easy. I would just talk, you know what I mean? Well, that's why I'm like kind of sad that I didn't start the podcast earlier, because I was like, I always am talking. So it's like, why wouldn't I just like start something where I, you know, could put that to use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that like, yeah, like this is awesome. Like doing a podcast is.
Have you ever thought about doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Other than like the stuff that you've done like on the side, like live and stuff?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I haven't found a real like right time or like right thing.
Yeah.
Always kind of in flux. And just like, if I were to do it, I'd want to do it with RJ, and he's just got such a wild schedule that it's like, come on.
Do you guys work full-time jobs?
I do. He's a vagabond, so he's always just up to something. But you never really know what it is. So, yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the plan is we move to Cincinnati together, and he gets just like a regular full-time job, and we can...
I don't know, dude. After all this fucking bullshit you've been going through, you might be traveling comedian after this.
Dude, I would love that, but... Sadly, I don't think that time is coming for a while. But
I mean, it just takes it like this is the one thing. So I've been working with like I don't know, you know, Becky and Austin at all. So like I've worked with them, and I feel like having a group, like it's so much better You know, so it's like if you have Glass Cannon going to Crackpots or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like, it's a lot easier, I feel like, to like get like a show going like with these clubs and stuff like that. So I don't know, man, like, you know, Glass Cannon might, you know, become one of those things where it's like a traveling comedy group.
Dude, trust me, I'd love it.
Who would it be? It would be you and just RJ?
Me, RJ, Jay Cokes, and Gilly.
Okay. Oh yeah.
That's
hell yeah.
that's Glass Cannon.
Hell
so yeah, like those are 4 hitters.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's like perfect.
yeah, and we'll definitely need some feminine vibes.
Yeah.
Like that would be fantastic as the 5th. But yeah, no, and like I am a narcissist, but I also recognize that like of Glass Cannon, I'm the 4th most talented. Like those 3 other dudes are so fucking funny 7 days a week. It's
Dude,
crazy.
I've never actually seen like Gilly like do like a show set.
Yeah.
I would love to see it because like he like as like a host of an open mic, he fucking kills it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, because like, and that's like one of the guys that I wish was out, that I saw out more, because like he has always been like super like the mentor type guy. You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
I mean? Like I remember my first time going to Bossy Girl, and he was hosting. He went outside to smoke, and he just like didn't come back in. And I
Do
was
your time, man.
Yeah. And then he literally he was still out there, and I was like, I ran out of stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna bring out your host, and there was like a weird 30-second like thing where then he came in, and then afterwards, after he got off the stage after hosting, he's like, don't ever do that again. And he's like, if you have the stage, you have the stage. He's like,
Yeah.
you use as much of that time, because it's like, you know, all these other places are only giving you 5 minutes. It's like, you're not gonna have these opportunities that often. And
Yeah.
it's like, dang, like I now that like looking back, I really wish I would have used that time.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Bossy girl rule is if Gilly's not in the room, you keep fucking talking. Like, and that's like, I love that. And he for sure is definitely like, I've got like 4 like hardcore comedy mentors. Like, couldn't possibly be where I'm at today without them, and Gilly's one of them.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
1,000%.
Fucking murderer, dude.
Oh, dude, and like just like will drop, and I love you to death, Gilly. Old man wisdom when you need to hear it.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Just like I call him, and I'll bring him onto the stage as like my actual uncle, because it's like hilarious when people are just like, "That's a black guy with the ponytail." Nuh-uh. Like, but at the same time, like I very much feel like he's just like my uncle, like my literal uncle. Like he is always there for advice if you need it. He's always there like for advice if you don't want it but you need to hear it. He'll like grab you and and let you know what the fuck is up.
Yeah.
And yeah, like will literally helped so many people get good at comedy.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's like one of the best.
Oh yeah, love him.
All right, so Ian, there is something that I do have to bring up, because this is something that's talked about every once in a while. We're gonna settle this here on Help I'm High.
Okay.
You are actually Asian
Yes.
and Mexican.
Yes.
There you guys have it.
Was
Straight
that
from his mouth.
was that in dispute?
No.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, but you hear people talk every once in a while, like Brian Harris. You know what I mean? But he also gets shit because he's,
The light skin. Yeah.
So
He was just like, Ian's not actually Korean Mexican.
yeah, mostly Korean.
That's too funny. That's
Yeah.
too funny.
Everyone believes the Mexican part.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a Mexican word tattooed on my arm. Like or Spanish, definitely not Mexican. Jesus. The language of my people.
He
Yeah.
was covered. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm actually Korean, but not Mexican.
Yeah. Dude, it's too funny because like people and people that have known me for a long time would just be like, bro, you are 6 foot tall. You are not Korean Mexican. Like, and there is some white in there. Like, obviously, my name's Ian Miller. There's going to
Yeah.
be some white in there. But yeah, no, my grandma, 100%. Born and raised in Korea. My dad born on a military base in Incheon. Like my grandfather did the thing that Americans do, was just like go to war and then bring home one of the women. You know,
Dude.
So that's what he did. He was 6 foot tall. I'm 6 foot tall, and yeah, Korean and Mexican. Brian Harris.
So you're more what? You said that your grandmother is 100%.
yeah.
Like,
So technically,
your dad would be like half Mexican or something?
Well, my dad's half Korean, so my dad's half Korean, half white. My mom's half Mexican, half white. They each have one 100% parent, and then one white parent. So and that's like, it's too difficult to explain that on stage. It's way easier to just be like, I'm Korean and Mexican. Like, also, there was like a time in which I lived in like a very rural town. Like I went to high school in like, my parents, when I was 15 years old, moved us from the west side to a farm. So like culture shock, wildness. But one time I was literally like hanging out with my homies and like my boys, we were like crashing somewhere after a party, and they were just like, you're not white. And I was like, I broke down the math. I was like, if you think about it, I'm like more white than I am Korean or Mexican, because like the nickname Korexican was given to me in high school just to like, and that's what a lot of people call me. And I was like, if you think about it, I'm more white than like Korean and Mexican. And he was like, they were just like, no, like once like because they're both 50%, like, and this was their words, they were like, the like minority in both of your parents like contaminated the white, so it doesn't count. And it was just like, dude, like imagine being 17 and your friends telling you this, not even people you dislike, but like your boys just being like, no. So like at that moment I was just like, yeah, dude, fuck being white. Like, don't want to join your shitty club, like I'm good on that. And then like 5 years later, everybody like as an American people was just kind of like, you know what? Also fuck being white. And I was just like yeah, join my team. Like white people do suck. So yeah,
that's super crazy, because I actually get the opposite effect where it's like I'm white, but people assume I'm not.
Really?
A lot.
What do they think you are?
Mostly South American.
Oh, like you're from
Brazil.
Yeah,
I get Brazil a lot.
Bolivia. Yeah.
And I was like, that is so insane to me. I had a kid in college ask me if I was Brazilian, which was weird. And I just started working at like a taco place, and like the whole entire kitchen staff is like Mexican except for like 2 black guys. And it's like the one I was talking to was like, I kind of thought you were like South American. I was like, oh shit. Like,
you could also look like a South African. Like South Africans look like you do.
Okay,
like most South Africans are like Dutch and British.
Okay, yeah. I'm like Polish.
Yeah.
Polish that's like the strongest gene probably.
Yeah. You don't see a lot of people, you have blue eyes, and that doesn't happen in places where the sun's real bright. Like that's the only reason I would be like, nah, you a white. Yeah. Like you don't. They don't
He's
get
one of them special ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like in places where your skin has to turn dark, your eyes can't be white. It can't be that blue. It's like they're too sensitive. Like it's not gonna happen. You're not born somewhere all of a sudden. Like, no.
Well, you guys had it. You guys remember, you guys can always support this podcast. We have that listener support option that you guys can do. Ian, you said you don't have any more shows, but we'll get something planned up.
We'll do it. Yeah.
Guys, also, we have a live podcast recording next week on Thursday at Juniors. That's Thursday the 28th. We have a special guest. It's going to be Help I'm High and also the Jog podcast. So if you're free, go ahead and check it out. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys soon.
Have a good day.